So let's just close our
Sounded a little
eyes.
quiet, but maybe it's my end.
I'm going to mute you, Shanti, just for now. We're going to have a grounding meditation. So let's just closing our eyes, feeling our sit bones upon the earth, whatever parts of our body are in contact with that solid ground beneath us. We begin to welcome in the element of air. Things are changing and tend to be unsolid sometimes, or unstable at times. And so working with our breath and feeling our body is always a sure way to really anchor ourselves into the moment. So just begin by breathing deeply into your belly. Deep inhalations through your nose. Really drawing that down into your belly, into your womb. Just allowing whatever you're carrying with you in this moment to just simply be put off into the background as we just take this time to focus on our breath. Focus on our body as it meets the earth beneath us. If it helps you to place your hands on your body and just really give your body this acknowledgement, okay, here we are, we're here together, anchoring into this moment. Nothing else matters except what is happening right here and now. With your next few deep inhalations, give yourself permission to, on the exhale, just really begin to allow some sighing and just observe how that feels in your body, how that feels in your nervous system. When you release that sigh, what do you observe happening in your shoulders, in your throat, in your chest, maybe even in your belly and lower back? Just taking another few deep breaths. And when you're ready, just slowly opening your eyes. Yay. Beautiful. Welcome, everyone. Welcome back, Sherry. Ah, so here we are in the element of air. You may experience things are in the process of shifting, like even on the obviously on the internal, on the external. We've got new moon upon us, so we're feeling those energies of really going in and connecting. We've got Venus just about to go into retrograde, which is about to really excavate all of the internal heart happenings for us to really bring up to review. And the beauty of the element of air is that we get to practice staying in our center while everything around us may be moving and changing and shifting. So before we actually invoke the element of air and call this wisdom and medicine of this element into our shared space, let's take a moment to review and complete our time with the element of fire. So I think today, since we've got a few of us, I really like sharing together though. So let's do that. I was going to break us out into groups, but there's just something really fulfilling about getting to hear where you're all at and sharing in that. So let's be brief. And just if there's anything that you've received, any experiences that you wish to share with the group, any honorings or acknowledgments of the element of fire that came up for you to share, to receive, let's take a moment now to honor that with one another. So there's no right or wrong way or rhyme or reason, just whoever feels called to share. And it's not mandatory. It's simply an invitation to, express ourselves courageously, openly, vulnerably, and remembering that the wisdom and insights that you may have had or continue to have oftentimes really benefits one of us as well. So the floor is open for you, sisters.
I'll share quickly. I'm sorry I missed you last week live, and it's funny. I realized I saw everyone live and watching the replay, but I realized nobody saw me. So I just want to say I'm shaking it up. I love this practice of shaking and generating heat, and it feels like it's a tangible practice in my prayer to kind of shake my life up and forage on a new path, whatever that might be. But thank you.
Thank you. I'm glad you felt us, even though you weren't live. You still get to feel us through the video.
Yes.
Lovely.
Yes, absolutely.
Go on, Shanti. Can't hear you, darling. No, is your microphone muted? Okay, you'll sort it out. She's sorting it out. I'm learning to read lips and bodies. Anyone else like to share?
I'll go.
Please.
I just feel like I was on a lot of big swings of like being with the fire and then finding ways to disassociate. and just recognizing that pattern for myself, and not making it wrong or anything. It was just like, oh wow, okay, that's really a thing. Yeah. And I had a commitment to get that piece out that I actually wrote on Tuesday. That gave me a place to put a lot of the fire of the week, and that was actually really grounding. Yeah, I learned a lot by just like staying with that commitment, and I couldn't wait to, like, on Saturday when I was trying to film it, there were like helicopters everywhere. They were looking for somebody, and just like trying to just get a clean, because I was just memorizing it like barely in time for my commitment for Saturday, so I couldn't, noticing even how I couldn't wait to then just put it down. And so there's just like, I feel inspired to continue to build a healthy relationship with fire. Yeah.
That video, if you ladies have not seen it yet, Michelle's posted it onto our Facebook group, and you saw my comment. Yeah, just tears rolling. I really felt your power, sister, and your dedication and your commitment and your prayer. And it's, really, really proud that I get to be a part of this experience and you're emerging and witnessing. So thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Anyone else? Claire?
Hello, everyone. Matilda and I are back at the farm now after our big adventure. The last 2 weeks, I was coming to you from Queensland and northern New South Wales, and yeah, now we're back in Kooirua. So part of fire for me was really about courage, and the courage to go on that big adventure, and the courage to make the journey home, and doing it all alone with Matilda. And I feel like fire gave me some energy that I really needed to do the challenging parts of the journey over the last week. Coming back and getting straight back into it. What are you eating? And doing markets on the weekend, only a few hours after getting back, and just really needing to call on that fire energy to give me that inspiration. And also I set myself a couple of challenges as well, and did stuff in the jungle, recording one of my medicine songs that I'm going to put on, even do a video on YouTube when I'm feeling a bit more confident, inspired. So I loved setting myself some fiery intentions there. And also, in other news, I'm feeling a bit sexy again, which is great because I haven't been feeling very sensual or sexual in a really long time. But I put on this black and white little checkered onesie yesterday, and I was like, I'm feeling pretty good. So I think I might get lucky this week. I think I'm feeling even more attracted to Paul now that I'm back and I've had some space from him. We seem to get along even better when we have a good amount of time apart, which is good. So I'm glad I went on that adventure even more. Gave me a chance to miss him. And yeah, so that's where I'm at. And Matilda wants to say hello. Hello everyone.
Thank you. Shanti, you want to share now? Can we hear you think?
How is that? Can you hear me now?
Mhm.
When I try to plug in an outside speaker, it messes the mic. So anyways, yeah, so I had to light a pretty good fire this week to do Stephen B here because it's Thanksgiving here in Canada, and my son came down for that and for his birthday, and it's his first month away from home ever. And so, you know, I wanted to like spoil him up, and I drove him home, but he was like, yeah, I have to be there by a certain time. I'm like, well, I need to get there in time to do my course. And so I gave him my yes, but it was my terms, my yes. You know, he was trying to push me around a little bit, and I was just like, no, I have to make this work for me. So that fire within just kind of, you know, because usually I'm a complete pushover, you know, like I just want to, oh, I haven't seen my baby, you know. And so here he is. He's happy. I'm happy. I'm here. So that's wonderful.
Well done.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else wish to share? Go ahead, Sherry.
Hey everyone,
Hey.
missed you all. So the fire's kind of been chasing my tail. I haven't been as good in the dance or listening to the music because I have too many other projects on the go right now. But it's still here, like I'm still trying to take it in. And so let's see. Oh, let me just show you something that's part of another project, which is kind of really fun. It's like a little, you know, one of those things where you, and so this is part of my fire building little projects. A little raven, little dancers. I'll show you the inside. Little woman in the inside. And then even the bottom, whoops, has stuff on the bottom, which all has meaning and relevance to where I'm in my life right now. But I won't go into the details. So I'm with you. I'm doing things. I'm creating content for my own dance classes, which I hold every Wednesday, which is a big fire push as well. And yeah, so it's good. It's happening. I'm looking forward to being here tonight and actually having the content, so I don't have to try to go back and watch it. So anyways, nice to see you.
Great to have you back, Sherry.
Yes.
Wendy?
Fires. I'm really exhausted today, actually. So even finding words is really challenging for me. I overdid it in my veggie garden yesterday, so I'm just wiped today. So I'm going to try and find restoration in the air. But yeah, fire's been a really big week. I had my recent ex-partner turn up and drop a very unexpected bombshell on me, and I was so unbelievably proud of myself, because normally I went into shock, and normally I would go out of my body, lose my sense of boundaries, and I didn't. I was in shock, but I still remained really grounded and really solid, and I was still able to stay connected to my truth and voice how I felt assertively, not angrily, and I felt really strong and really powerful within the shock and within the situation I was in. And the biggest, I think, the most significant part of that for me was my subconscious default is to go into victim. And I found that without even realizing, instead of going into, this is happening to me, etc., when I was getting clarity around what he was saying, I worded it as in, what are you asking of me? And it was really empowering. It was putting myself in like, okay, I have a choice. I can honor what he's asking or not. And I was really so excited about that, because it's all this work I've been doing, and just for it to embody so deeply where it just subconsciously just came in. Yeah, that was my profound fire moment this week. It's been a bit full on, and I feel pretty weary today.
Thank you. Molly?
Well, it's just funny what Sherry mentioned, because the other night at our community dinner, we made these. After we finished eating, we were like, I don't even know how it came up, but we each made our own, and they had different symbols and sayings, and then we shared them out. And I haven't seen one of these in, 30 years or something. So that's just pretty funny and synchronistic. I'd love to see more about what you did with them. For me, fire, and I'm still working with it, is this whole thing, and I loved it in your description about consciously working with anger. And I'm one of those people who tends to be like, don't get angry, just, deal with it, let it go, So I'm becoming more aware of consciously dancing with and feeling the fire of that and releasing it, rather than just let it go. People would be like, just let it go. So I am experiencing that through the dance. We had our first conscious dance of the season Friday night, open floor with Polly. I'm offering Dancing Freedom this Friday. So I'm just so inspired with this deep work with the elements. So thank you. Oh, can I share one thing really quick? I don't know if you can see it, but I do. I've been doing soul collage. So with the light, hard to say, but this was a soul collage card I did of fire a while back, and I pulled it out, and this has been on my altar for the week, and I've been working with it. So yeah, I like having that representation.
Beautiful, thank you. Trini, did you want to share? Hold on, let's unmute you.
Sorry.
There you are.
Okay. Fire's been a real igniter for me this week. I've just felt a tremendous amount of energy. It really feels like it has really stoked an inner power in me this week. Physically, emotionally, a lot of strength and courage from like deep in my womb that I haven't felt before. Yeah, and a lot of clarity and boundaries. I actually said no and nothing else this week. And I'm like, yes, finally. So instead of making, no because of such and such and such, I just said no. And that felt so good. It feels like it's just really connected me to a power in a conscious way that I've just, I don't know, to a voice of wisdom and clarity that I've never known before. So thank you very much. This whole thing is really fascinating me. So I wish we could continue it and just keep it going.
Yeah, and that's amazing.
I mean, it's amazing to me how the week unfolds with each element and how powerful it is for me. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. We're making magic. We're welcoming our magic. It's, I'm sure many of you have heard, it's like where our attention goes, energy flows. And this is the power that we possess in our bodies and our hearts with our intentions. When we say we're going to be working with fire, it's like we're setting ourselves up to really begin, like, we kind of weed out all of the other thoughts and all of the other chaos, and we begin to kind of harness our energy and our attention to welcoming that wisdom. And it's always there. It's just, really, there's so much happening all the time. So the more we begin to understand and like embody and know how to harness our energy, focus our attention, like, we begin to create those clear pathways for our energy to flow and for that which we're wanting to work with or that we're calling into our realities to come towards us, because we're not kind of busy, frantically looking everywhere. It's like, yep, this is the path that I'm walking upon. And so we walk towards and that energy is moving towards us. So there's a meeting and it's not, if something's not for us, okay, like that's the feedback that we receive from life. Like, okay, this isn't working. Okay, so now that's my feedback and I get to shift my perspective and I move towards what is for me, right? And so I've been finding that this has been a really big mantra for me in these past 2 years as I've been really soul searching and recalibrating and recreating my life. It's like, what is for me? Right? Like if I want to be with somebody and they don't want to be with me, it's like obviously not for me, or it would match up, right? If I want something and that doesn't flow, it's probably just not for me. And so rather than struggling and tantruming and like putting all of this energy towards something that is not for me, why don't I use that as feedback to then turn my attention towards what is flowing towards me, right? And we have the power to do that. For myself this week in the fire, synchronistically, Wendy, I saw my former husband for the first time in 6 months. And that was a really big, I went into it feeling really afraid that I was going to collapse and that I was just going to be like, oh. So my mantra is a Brené Brown quote, and it's strong back, open front. Strong back, open front. So I didn't want to go into it being a bitch or closed down because there's so much love there. But I also didn't want to go in like being really like, oh yeah, whatever, like I forgive you, or let's just be friends again, And so my mantra was strong back, open front. And God, it was amazing. It was I felt so clear and so powerful and really in my center, which was a big reason why I needed to shift out of that relationship, was because I didn't know how to be in that relationship and be in my center. And so I was really proud of myself. I got really beautiful feedback from him and just like, wow, like, yeah, you're, And I was also able to say, hey, like, it's great to see you and check in, and I still need more time. So please continue to not like, let's keep out of contact until further notice. So seeing him and wanting to lean into a friendship, but also recognizing that I'm not ready for that yet. So keeping my boundary clear, it was fucking huge for me. So I celebrate me, and I'm glad that I get to share it with you all, because I'm in the process just as much as each of you. And the fire is, it tests us. It tests us to like, can we sustain the burning while anchoring into our true knowing? Yeah, and even though there's other people that come in and out that are always there traveling alongside us or in and through our experience, like really, I'm sure you already know this, it's like there's nothing to hold on to. Like, even though Earth is solid, like it really, everything is constantly in shift and constantly in flux, and we can't control anyone or anything, except we get to choose to hold on to ourselves, right? And that's what I feel working with the elements, working with our bodies, focusing and harnessing our awareness. It's like it gives us that stability that's not on the outside, though it's here. And we get to create and work with it to the point where we can become unshakable, like that unshakable spirit within us that can meet life's challenges and still be like, yeah. So well done to all of us. Are we complete with air? Are we complete with the fire? Is there anything else that needs to be shared? Cool. Awesome. So let's welcome in the element of air as we bid farewell temporarily, thanking the element of fire for its information, for its wisdom, for helping us to see ourselves and our pathway more clearly, for grounding more deeply into our own personal power and showing up in the world from that place. Let's breathe in deeply and welcome in the element of air. The element that brings change, the element that begins to clear the ashes so that we can see what still remains as we stand into and rise from. Calling upon the traditional custodians of the land in which you stand upon, honoring those ancestors, past, present, and future elders, calling upon your own personal ancestry for whom without you and I would not be here. All of the elements that we're dancing with all the time, while also honoring that today and this week we'll be honing our awareness to work specifically with the archetypal energy of air. Calling upon your personal guides and guardians, benevolent beings that ally with you as you find your way home to yourself, home to your center. And if there's a personal intention or prayer that you carry in your heart and your body today as we embark upon this journey with the element of air, just allow that to drop into your heart, into your body, into your womb, wherever it lands. And just give it voice, give it expression, whether you're muted or not, it doesn't matter. Just for yourself to hear it and just know that that ripples into our shared space. What is your prayer, your intention for the element of air? For me, it's trust and surrender. And once you've spoken your prayer aloud for your ears to hear and for us to feel the ripple effect of that intention, just taking a really big deep breath in and releasing that with a long sigh. And when you're ready, if they're not already open, opening your eyes. Yeah, awesome. So before we get into our movement and embodiment of the element of air, I just want to offer just a few key pieces from like what's moving through me right now. Air is really that invitation to just breathe through it all. Like, we have this breath that we don't even really need to think about. Like, we breathe, we are being breathed all the time, and that is sustaining our lives. So when we bring our awareness and our attention to our breath, it anchors us into the moment, it anchors us into the now. Samantha Sweetwater, one of my teachers, the woman who passed on Dancing Freedom to us, she calls it NOW. Like, the acronym for NOW is the natural order of wonder. And so, and I love thinking of that the natural order of wonder, when we're actually in the now, we get to really begin to perceive things as this wondrous experience, right? I'm not in like what happened yesterday, what I'm going to do after, who I spoke to or what they did, but it's like, no, I'm just present with now. And in the now, anything can become extraordinary. Yeah, even our grieving, even our anger, even like a glitch in a relationship or in something that might not be going exactly as we plan, when we can just be with it in the moment, we can actually, we don't think about it anymore. We're just in it. And when we're in it, then everything begins to like take us back. And then it actually creates the direction, the momentum for the next. For example, yesterday, we're here preparing for a 5-day retreat at our property, and I went to go set up the bell tent, and the bell tent was where the facilitators are going to sleep, and I wanted to set it up really lush and beautiful in this like epic little fairy garden, and I went to take it out of its pack, and it was moldy. Somebody that I had lent it to returned it to me moldy without knowing that it was going to be that way, and I had a fucking meltdown. Like, I had a fucking meltdown. And, fortunately, I've got some housemates. They work with feelings, and he's just like, my housemate is like, Phoenix, what are you feeling right now? What's going on? What feelings are you feeling? I'm like, I'm feeling angry. He's like, okay, express it. So I'm just giving myself permission to express the anger, then giving myself permission to just feel the sadness and the disappointment and crying like a baby, like wailing, like, whoa, and then it's just like breathing in. Okay, I've moved that energy. And now it's like, okay, here I am. And within 10 minutes, the person who I had lent the tent to called me, and he's like, Phoenix, I'm going to buy you a brand new tent. I'm going to go pick it up at the warehouse, and I'm going to bring it to your house tonight and help you set it up. And so, like, I've got a brand new fucking bell tent now. And all because, I really feel like in the moment where I was panicking, and it was like, what am I going to do? What's going to happen? Oh, it's not working out as planned, and I was in that panic mode. But then I kind of brought myself back to center, allowed myself to express all of that emotion. And as soon as it passed, what happened? Life meets me with like an even better than imagined outcome, right? Not saying that that's always the case, though. How many of you have experienced that when you actually give yourself permission to meet yourself and like, okay, this is what is happening. I'm here, I'm with it, I'm using my tools, and then something shifts. And typically I find that it's, something that is for us, more in alignment for us or to the situation arises. And so as we begin to work more consciously with the element of air, it is that it's the beauty of what comes and blows away everything that is not in alignment, that is not in service. It's also what takes the pollen and takes the seeds in springtime, which is here now in Australia, and and those seeds, they have no fucking idea where they're going, right? They're just in full surrender and full trust. Yeah, the air comes and it blows those seeds. Then they just float on the wind in just full surrender. And inevitably, they find their place. They find exactly where is going to be their most optimum place. They plant themselves where they are. And with all conditions, they grow or they don't grow. It doesn't matter. But it's that energy of just fully allowing and allowing ourselves to fully emerge as we are in that moment, not trying to fix or control or like repress or like squeeze ourselves into any specific boxes, but it's just to be in that state of curiosity and wonder, like, who am I right now? Yeah. Like when I went to see Rich, when I saw Rich over the weekend, my former husband, it's like, I really had to kind of give myself, it's like coach myself. He's not the same person. I'm not the same person. Who is this person in front of me now? Am I willing to just allow myself to be who I am now without trying to squeeze myself into something that I was, right? And so for each of us, that's the task of air, like allowing ourselves to be new in every moment, allowing ourselves to stay curious, like, who am I today? What is here working with me? Because I find when we fix ourselves, or like, this is how I show up in my relationship, this is how I show up at work, this is the kind of person that people on Facebook think I am, it's like we're denying ourselves the truth of who we are in that moment and the truth of what's there for us to see and witness of ourselves. And I find that the more we allow, it's like the more surprised we get to be, because there's always something new emerging if we clear the space, welcome in the presence and the attention to witness what is rather than what was or what we want it to be. And usually what is pretty darn magical. So air is also that space of magic. Yeah, it's like what's beyond the veil, the unseen, because the element of air, even though we feel it and we see it moving the leaves and stuff, it's not as tangible as, say, the fire or the water or earth. Yeah. So it actually begins to invite us into this magical realm, this shamanic realm where all of nature, all of creation begins to dialogue with us from like a space of felt sensing rather than what we can see with our eyes or like really grab a hold of. So it actually invites us to begin opening our senses even more so that we can begin to be touched. Yeah, because we feel the air touching us. Even though we can't grasp it, we can still begin to interact with it. And so I find that the element of air, I have a bit of challenge with it quite often because it's like, I don't understand it. Like my mind can't wrap itself around what it is because I can't see it, I can't touch it. So that's the beauty and the wisdom in it, is that it really begins to train us to like, let go of the firm grasp and the firm hold of reality, and to just simply allow things to begin emerging from a place that's beyond the known so that we can begin to expand ourselves into more of ourselves, right? As we begin to expand from the more denser elements into air and then next ether, where it's this connection to all that is, right? It's this natural progression from the densest, like primal animal bodies with bones and flesh and dense energy, gravity, and then we begin to flow with the water, and then the fire begins to, really transform and break down that matter to transform it into pure energy. And then that air. Yeah. So that's my offering for now. I like speaking, so thank you for listening. I hope you received some tidbits to take into the movement exercises with you. Are there any comments or questions or anything you'd like to add? Because, I really value your wisdom as well. So if there's something I missed that you think someone may benefit from, please just chime in so that we add this to our air crucible. No? Go ahead, Lori. Hold on, let's unmute you, babe.
Okay, where am I?
We got
you. You mentioned it just briefly, but one thing I loved from our training even that has really stuck with me is air as the element of touch. And so really inviting that, and I often invite that in the dance when we get so into our own dance, and then when we move into air, feeling air, the touch for ourselves and the touch for another, that connection through touch with air. I just always loved that about the element of air as well.
Beautiful. Thank you. Yes, yes, yes. All right. And another thing that I want to add is just really, as we breathe, and we're going to actually practice some sighing today, just sighing, though it really begins to open up our throats. Yeah. Which is this space of like free expression, which is why one of the main reasons we're all here is to begin unleashing and unshackling ourselves to really find the freedom of expressing ourselves. So today, when we're doing a lot of the breath work or the breathing exercises of sighing, I just really invite you to just really give yourself permission to get into it. You know, you're muted, nobody can hear you. I'm the only one that's, you know, like being weird and sharing the voice, but, you know, really give yourself permission to observe what it feels like. Yeah. Cool. So let's find ourselves standing, actually. We're going to start with just some breath dancing with our breath. I'm going to put myself there. Yeah, so just find yourself on your feet. You know, none of the elements are isolated, even though we have been using them distinctly. So just really finding your grounding, remembering that anchoring cord, that grounding cord, and just really calling it in, allowing yourself to be really grounded, really anchored through this connection from your center of power or your womb below your belly button. Just allowing that cord to come through your pelvis, down into the earth, really creating this stability, this connection, even though we can stay in flow. Allowing your knees to be soft, your feet to be connected firmly to the ground. And just begin by breathing, yeah? And as you breathe, just begin to welcome just some gentle movement, yeah? Just allow your body to begin opening with the assistance of your breath. Just remembering to soften your jaw. Just breathing. And just allow any natural movement that comes with that breathing. Yeah, if you stay fluid, yeah, without being rigid, just see what natural movement comes. Yeah. Breathing has its own rhythm. It comes in ebb and flow. Through breathing, you come into rhythm with yourself. Focusing on your breath. And see if you can begin to feel this rhythm throughout your whole body. Similar to the water, yeah, where we're flowing through the water. It's like when we're breathing, when we really immerse ourselves in the element of air, it's like we begin to swim. Yeah, we're swimming constantly through this ocean of air. It's not water, it's not as dense as the air, but we really are always dancing, flowing, swimming through this ocean of air. So just allow yourself to inhale deeply, filling your body, seeing how many places within your body this breath can touch. Using it to begin softening any hard edges. Yeah. The way that over time, air and wind can totally shape and mold rock, soften rock. So as you breathe, just allow your body to do its natural, you have to find its natural flow, its natural rhythm, its natural softening. If it feels good to place your hands on your belly, just to assist you in really feeling, because air is invisible. If you touch your belly, you can actually feel your belly expanding and contracting with every breath. So it gives you a little bit more of a tangible experience of the air as it moves through you. Yeah, you can breathe just quite naturally and gently, or you can intensify your breathing. Really enjoy allowing my breath to enter into my lungs deeply and into my heart, really opening my chest. Yeah, just allowing yourself to continue to feel the sensation and the movement of your breath. With each inhalation and exhalation, just let your movement response grow. Yeah, what may have up until now just been slow, gentle movements, just begin to amplify that movement just a little bit, staying with yourself at your own pace. Allowing your breath to begin penetrating any tight areas, any hardened areas, whether that's in your shoulders, in your chest, in your lower back. Yeah, it's like, imagine your breath coupled with your intention or your awareness can become like a laser beam, right? So if you have a tension in your lower back, how can you bring your awareness, hone it in, focus it like a laser beam, and just allow it to be breathing into that area of tension, whether it's your lower back or your shoulder. Just begin practicing that, exploring and observing what that feels like. Yeah, choosing a different body part, maybe beginning with your neck and seeing if you can breathe or into your shoulder. Into your belly. Into your pelvis or lower back. You can get even more obscure. Maybe you want to practice breathing into your elbow. Who knows? Yeah, how precise can we become with our breathing? Yeah, which is completely coupled with our attention and our awareness. So just taking a few moments to explore, staying curious, yeah, like a little child. I'm sure Claire sees it all the time with Matilda, like a child who sees something for the first time. How can you begin to step into that natural order of wonder? And as you breathe, just really begin to welcome a deeper curiosity. And as you just move at your own pace, just taking the space to move in whatever way feels good. Really allowing your breath to become audible. Yeah, this becomes the soundtrack to your movement. And welcome in that sighing. Welcome in that sighing, yeah? Sometimes we might not have the opportunity to just throw a tantrum or have a big cry if some energy is there, but it doesn't mean we have to repress it, yeah? Like, even my housemate and I last night, we were just on the front porch just sighing, yeah? It's like, yeah, just reminding one another that this is the way that we can just expel or express some energy that's moving and that needs to be moved in a moment, that I can't just have a tantrum, but I can have a good sigh. So just as you move, breathing in and just welcoming that sigh. Yeah, not judging those sounds that might come through, just letting your body guide you. Yeah, we already have the tools. We know how to stay grounded. We know how to flow. We welcomed in the fire, that releasing or shaking of energy. So, this is an opportunity for you to integrate those. Breathing on purpose. Working with your sound. Just observe what happens in your neck and your shoulders when you really allow yourself to surrender. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be a collapsing of energy. It can be a fortifying and a softening. Just welcoming more body parts into your movement, into this breath dance. Exploring whatever movements arise as you follow your breath. Really welcoming the air, feeling the air on every part of your skin. Can you hone your awareness that precisely, that you begin to feel the sensation of air on your skin as you move throughout the space, while maintaining contact with your breathing. Yeah, all of the background noise begins to fade away, and all that there really is right here, right now, is this moment, this sensation of air on your skin, and moving through your body, softening you, putting you in deeper contact with yourself. How does the air feel as you shape your body through space? Yeah. Even though it is invisible, can you imagine it being this substance that you can shape with your movement? Yeah, so as you move through space, feeling the air, you're kind of slicing through, swimming through the air. Creating patterns, the way an airplane might make patterns in the sky as it flies through the clouds. And are there ways that you can move that open you up to receiving more breath? More breath, which is also your life force. Right? The more breath, the more life force, the more life force, the more energy, the more of you can express and accomplish in the world outside of you. You're having a full body scan from the top of your head all the way down, just taking your time to touch in with your breath and your awareness into all your body parts. Remembering to keep your jaw softened and your pelvic floor open and receptive. Your knees soft. Yeah, you can be soft and alert. You don't have to be, being alert doesn't necessarily mean being rigid. The way a tree is rooted deeply and yet it's very flexible. It moves with the wind. Yeah, if a tree was unmovable, it would actually break when a big wind came through. But because it's flexible, it can bend and move and flex. So just allow yourself to be moved and bent and flexed as your breath enters and exits your body, as it touches and caresses your skin, as it expands and massages your internal organs. Yeah. Allowing your sound. Continuing to let your breath lead your movement and allow it to begin moving you through your space. Yeah, so if you're still in one spot, just allow your breath, like the way the wind carries the seeds or the leaves, just allow your breath to carry you through your space. Allowing the sounds you making become the music which accompanies your movement. Yeah, welcoming more sensuality. Yeah, because this air is one of the guides, is the touch, is the skin. Allowing the air around you to begin caressing you. This is the shape of your breath dance. Yeah, your breath dance, your unique breath dance. Continuing to maintain your focus and connection to the rhythm of your own breath and any sensations that you notice therein. What are you feeling emotionally? And let your movement be a response and a reflection to any feelings or images which are evoked as you breathe and move. Yeah, don't stuff anything down or wish it away. Just welcome it. Yeah, welcome it. Like a welcomed guest. And give it movement and breath and expression. Give it a shape. Just taking a few more moments to explore your own space. And it's okay for it to feel good. Let it feel good. You are a sensual creature. Allow it to feel good. If it feels good to actually place your hands on your skin and activate this largest organ in our body, which is our skin. Give yourself permission. Yeah, this is your space for you to begin more fully occupying this body of yours, this sacred temple of yours. If your breath had a voice, what would it say? If the physical sensation you are becoming aware of could talk to you, what would it tell you? What would these sensations tell you about yourself? It's okay if it feels true and good to welcome some of that gentle shaking, to just bring the movement, the breath, the energy even deeper into your body. Welcome that. You've got the tools. Listen to your body. What does it need? What does it want? What will assist it to feel even more alive and touched? If you haven't yet practiced working with your sighing, I want you to just explore different ways that sound, that audible breath, this is your unique signature, this voice. So often in our cultures, we are programmed to keep that voice repressed. And that voice, that's our life force. It's connected to our breath. It's connected to our hearts, our spirits. And only you can choose. Now that you know that the power is in your hands, in your body, in your voice, you have a choice. What is your heart song, your unique signature? And allow that to be added to the symphony of your breath as you move through space. The invitation is to even just allow your face to just do what it needs to do. Often we're kind of like walking through the world just trying to stay composed to maintain and upkeep this image of who we think we should be or what we should look like. Just really allow your inner idiosyncrasies to be unleashed, your inner weirdo, your inner fairy or pixie, right? Like these inner parts of ourselves that we so often keep hidden for fear of being judged. This is a safe space to welcome them to come out. So as you let your voice through and your sound through, your sigh through, your breath through, just allow your face to really just begin to soften and shape itself in whatever way it wants to. Maybe you can assist it by massaging your jaw a bit and just like, it's okay to let go. It's okay, I can drop my masks here. It's okay to be unique and strange because everybody else is too. And just taking a moment to pause. And just observe, just observe. Keep on breathing and observing. I'm gonna just put some music on so we can explore this next exercise, but just keep on observing, staying curious, breathing and allowing. It's not complicated. It's as simple as breathing. This is the song that wasn't chosen by me. It just chose itself. So this next activity is called our voice dancing. The element of air actually gives us an opportunity to explore new parts of ourselves like we've been doing. And yet we've got our own signature movements, expression. And sometimes the only way to bust out of those familiar patterns is to really go into the familiar to then begin expanding beyond them. So we're just going to take this moment. I'm going to play this one instead. We're going to take this moment to practice our familiar movement patterns, yeah? Exploring our own movement dance vocabulary, yeah? Because I know you've got your own signature moves, just like I do. So really, this is an opportunity for you to own them. Yeah, really get familiar with the way your body enjoys expressing and moving. Enjoy what feels good as you're dancing, as you're moving. Really take up your unique sense of time and space and movement dynamics. I'll meet you on the other side of this track. Starting slowly with that breath dance. Tapping into the intimate parts of your movement vocabulary. Not I am. 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 Letting your breath become audible with the music. Not I am. Really acknowledging your signature ways of moving and breathing. Noticing your signature moves, dancing to dig deep for endurance, staying close to your true self. Just allowing yourself to find a natural ending, perhaps allowing your body to take a shape and breathing into that shape, really honoring this familiar territory that you dance within and through. This vocabulary that moves you through space and time, that gives you connection to your body. I'd love to just see a thumbs up if everybody's doing okay. Is everybody all right? Yeah, okay. Can we keep moving? Yeah, we're gonna keep going? All right, great, good, okay, wonderful. So just keep breathing this familiar voice dance, yeah? So the way to begin busting out of the familiar, yeah? Because you're very, very well aware of the familiar patterns, yeah? Though to expand our horizons and begin welcoming new undiscovered parts of ourselves, we must also explore the opposite of the opposite voice dancing, yeah? So this next piece is going to invite us to explore the attitudes that you value your personal voice and seek range, seek new horizons, yeah? So if you find yourself usually moving in a really fluid, water-like way, like what does it feel like to move in a more rigid and angular way, yeah? If you find yourself usually moving in the rhythm or the tune to the music, can you actually give yourself permission to try moving out of sync with the music? And it might feel really uncomfortable because like your brain and your body just don't have the patterns for that yet. So actually what happens as we begin to explore the opposite of what we're used to, we begin to slowly carve new patterns that then also becomes part of our new expanded range of movement. And this, of course, translates on the dance floor and off of the dance floor in our own experience and our experience of others as well. So I'm going to put on another track. And for this, I really invite you to be experimental, like bust out of your normal. Be anything but your normal. Get a little weird, a little funky, let your face get into it, really begin to like expand your box, bust out of what you're really used to and see what's out there, yeah? Be that like intrepid explorer. So let's see. Let's put this on. Nope, not this. Let's see, I have the radio up. This track is by Polish Ambassador. It's called Dinosaurs in Urban Environments. So that's pretty strange. Let's see where that takes us. So once again, starting slowly. Maybe you begin with your familiar pattern. You okay, Trini? You all right over there? Yeah, okay. Maybe you begin with your familiar pattern, but then really give yourself permission to expand beyond. It might take a little bit of work, you'll notice. Let's see how we go. All the while staying curious and out of judgment. And if you find a really unfamiliar pattern, just repeat it. Yeah, imagine yourself just carving new pathways. Use your breath. If it feels strange, breathe into it, expand it even more. Doesn't have to make sense. I'm gonna speed it up a bit. Just keep on exploring like the intrepid explorer that you are. And if you find yourself in familiar movement patterns, bust out of them. And you don't have to go with the beat or the rhythm, you can go against the beat. And if you find yourself getting frustrated with yourself, just breathe. And expand even more. If you find a new pattern repeating, allow that to build memory for something new to emerge. And even if you find yourself in the familiar, how can you shift it slightly so it becomes something new? Keeping all your body parts engaged. Go into the familiar, be kind. Slowly keep expanding. Stretch your limits. Even if it's slightly. If you need to shake some old pattern out, shake it out. Let something new emerge. Allowing your awkward feelings to come through. Explore unfamiliar space and time and pacing. If the music is fast, how can you slow it down? Allow yourself to be edgy. Trying the opposite of what you may usually explore. And if you need to break in the familiar, cool, just don't stay there too long, then bust out. Staying curious and receptive. Just beginning to allow that to come to the close. Breathing that in, allowing that to come to its natural completion, taking a different shape. Yeah, maybe one out of the ordinary. Breathing into that and letting it go. Welcoming yet another shape. Breathing it in and letting it go. And just try that with a few shapes and a few breaths. Just keep on breathing and allowing. So you just stay with yourself. We're going to do something out of the ordinary. I'm going to put us into pairs so we can discuss the difference, the contrast between the familiar. Just stay with yourselves as I'm talking. We're going to just explore the way, the differences, the contrast between our familiar and the unfamiliar. Yeah, I'm just going to read you something. Take a moment to compare and contrast what it felt like to dance with your familiar dance. How did it feel to consciously explore your new movement patterns in your dance? How did it feel to dance in unfamiliar ways where you're able to fully express the opposite voice of your dance? And just explore and express with each other. We'll do 5 minutes each. Yeah. And then we can have a dialogue. I'm going to put you into pairs. So I know this is taking us out of the ordinary, but it's cool. We're in air. Change happens. How can we stay with it? Yeah, and flow with it, move with it. So give me a moment. I'm going to put us into breakout rooms. 2 participants per. Don't worry about time. I will alert you in 5 minutes so that you know if the other person hasn't been able to share yet. You will, but it's also, we'll have 10 minutes total. So if you want to just go back and forth, that's cool. Just follow your own flow. And Claire is happy to go into a group of 3. Okay, great. Well, we'll see what this does. Actually, we'll do 3 rooms. So some of you will have 3 participants in each. And Claire won't be able to speak because the baby. Okay, but she'll be in there listening and receiving. Okay, I'm going to set you guys up. See you in 10 minutes. So you just join your room that you're being invited into. I'm going to run to the loo while you all go in there. I'm going to pause our recording. Hello.
Hi.
All right. Let's see, let me put everybody up. Great. Okay, I think we're missing, there they are. Great. Beautiful. Well, before we complete with a final meditation, I'd love to hear some tidbits of what you all shared, because I was just here eating my apple. Anybody like to share what you learned from what you received, or maybe there was themes that you saw? Go ahead, Sherry. I see you.
That was my going against the grain dance. Going against. One of the things I noticed was I start to feel nauseous. So I was into different moves that I don't normally do, and it kind of stirred up some toxicity in my body. I was like, oh. So I definitely knew I was onto something when I wasn't in my regular pattern of moving. So I had fun. It was good to explore my voice and all different sounds and that went with my body. And yeah, it was quite goofy. It was good. I like when you're saying find your, be your weird self, and I was like, yeah, I'm a weirdo right now. It's good. Yeah, so thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else want to share what maybe something that you learned in your group or shared in your group? Go ahead, Wendy.
I want to just firstly thank everyone for being here, because the first part of that I just spent on the floor sobbing, and I really felt held in the space. I really just felt like I was being held, and it was beautiful, and my whole heart is truly grateful for everyone, because I think it just allowed me to just really crack more. This session for me was about sorry, my brain is slow-mo today. Was about honoring the parts that aren't ready to let go or don't feel ready to let go of the familiar, and don't want to necessarily let the new in. So there was it was a real grief. But when I was doing the familiar, I was saying how soothing it was and how comforting it was, and it felt really, really good. And then when Phoenix started talking about going into doing against the grain, unfamiliar, I started to get really emotional again, and crying and really sobbing, and my little girl threw a tantrum, like, and so we put feathers in my hair, and that helped. And so it was a real space for the parts of me to be expressed that just aren't quite ready to let go of some things and let the new in. Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else want to share?
My share.
Please.
So, I also facilitate drum circles, and in the drum circles a lot, I say, get out of your comfort zone. And I use you can't do it wrong. And it's all about the rhythm and, follow your heartbeat. But I realized I don't do that a lot myself in the dance. I dance the familiar a lot. So to have this opportunity to really bust out of my comfort zone was really beautiful. So thank you for that. And I was sharing in my group, I can't remember the name of the woman's poetry, but when I danced with Gabrielle years ago, it was one of her last intensives, this woman shared one of her songs, which is, don't dance the pretty, pretty dance. Like, this is not about the pretty dance. This is about what you're really feeling. And so I really felt that and experimented with that. So thank you, Phoenix. That was just wonderful.
And remind me, I'll attempt to put it in our letter. That's Jewel Mathiasen. I know that poem, and I will send it to everybody. But if by chance I don't, just remind me, and I'll put it on the Facebook page. But it's a good one. Yeah.
That's a really good one. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone else?
I'll go. So I'm healing a hip injury that's got me in like physical therapy and all the things, and so like even my familiar right now isn't really like full on familiar, but then moving into the unfamiliar, it's like, well, I don't even know what's going to be unfamiliar. I can barely move in the middle, you know. But I found like my tongue wanted to like dance, and it was like stretching all this stuff, and I was like turning into like Eeyore, and it was like the best stretch for my back and hip. And it was just weird and wild, and so I really appreciate the invitation. Yeah.
Anyone else? Go ahead, Trini. Hold on.
Am I on?
Yeah.
Okay. What was interesting to me was when we went from the familiar to the unfamiliar. The familiar to me now is more of a flow, right? A flowing movement. Okay. And going to the unfamiliar, I'm going to use the word staccato because that's where my background is, was the more staccato movement. That used to be my familiar movement. But now it's the unfamiliar movement. And it felt very different tonight. I mean, it didn't feel natural tonight like it used to. So it was like I have changed, right? In my patterns of dance have gone from staccato to flow, now flow being my familiar dance. It was really interesting. Yeah. So.
Thank you. Yeah, and I feel like it's just continuing to give oneself permission to keep changing. Like we're not fixed. We're not fixed beings. And so, yeah, what might be familiar in one moment might be unfamiliar in another moment, and vice versa. And so it's just continuing to give ourselves permission to like drop the hold on a specific identity or a way that we move through life, because there's so much more to who we are, so much more that we can discover about ourselves when we do like allow ourselves to go into the stretch zone. I've got a friend, she calls it the stretch zone, yeah, the opposite of the comfort zone. And also reflecting on what Wendy shared, like it's also okay. The familiar is there to help keep us safe and a place of refuge when we need it. So again, like when we stay stuck or fixed or complacent in the familiar, that's when we become stagnant, you know? So again, it's just really the more we tune in, the more we can feel, okay, like, yeah, it's time for shift. And you'll experience that all the time in your life. And if we don't choose to shift, oftentimes life will do something that's like, yep, time to shift. So staying attuned and aware to our patterns, and that's all it is. It just creates more possibility, and that's a beautiful thing. Is there anything else anybody would like to share?
I would just like to say how my intention at the beginning today was to be more in the flow when you have the unexpected. And so then all of a sudden you're telling us to get out of that familiar, and like unexpectedly I've got to be different. And I'm like, oh. And then you know what? It was fun because I get such a rut. So that was good. Thank you. That's good.
Go on, Clazy.
Otherwise, my voice just wakes her up. Yeah, I found it really challenging to get into the unfamiliar. The weirdest moves felt familiar. So I really had to push myself way, like really self, and do the weirdest of the weird. And I wish I'd had the insight tongue dancing, because that, I think I'm going to try that today, because I can feel like that get weird. So I think I'm going to challenge myself to be even more weird. Stretch that in my body. Stretch the parameters of weirdness. We're going to get weird, Matilda.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else before we complete? I'd like to end with a meditation. Calibra, did you want to share something, dear? Hold on, let's unmute you. There you go.
Oh, only what seemed, I'm just acknowledging, and now in the moment is what was weird or a little bit uncomfortable was instead of using my will to try and be different, to just allow something different to happen. And that was a bit uncomfortable. I was trying really hard to do something spontaneous, and that just doesn't work. So yeah, so I'm just acknowledging that now. It's like allowing something different to happen. Something, yeah. So, yeah, thank you.
Great. All right, well, before we close, let's end with a meditation with our breath. So just find yourself in a comfy position, just 3 minutes, just to complete. This is a very basic meditation of simply breathing. And yeah, let's imagine ourselves with every inhalation, we're just breathing in light. Yeah, because ultimately it's energy. Yeah, our prana, it's called in yogic tradition, our life force. So just sitting as comfortably as you can with your eyes closed, if that feels true, a soft chest and shoulders, just breathing to allow any tension to dissolve. And as you breathe in, just imagine yourself breathing in life force or light, liquid light, or just energy into your body, nourishing every cell of you. If you wish, you can imagine a bright light or the sun above you. I know I love breathing in the sun. I love feeling it touch my skin. So just conjure up that sensation, that memory of just feeling the sunlight touching your skin, breathing in its life force with every inhalation. And with your exhalation, just allow any dense energy or stagnant energy to just dissolve, just be released, reabsorbed into the atmosphere. Breathing in down through your body, through your shoulders and chest, through your arms, your lower back, through your sacrum and your pelvis, into your hip joints and thighs and knees. Just filling yourself with life force, with this solar energy, this light. Just breathing in through your nose and allowing that energy to just move from the top of your head all the way through your body and then out through your feet. You're really recycling this energy within you, breathing in. Allowing this breath to fill you with lightness. Yeah, allowing it to fill you with a sense of lightness and expansion. Taking a few more breaths, filling yourself with light. Exhaling any density or stagnancy through your feet. With your next inhalation, just acknowledging this gratitude, this grace that the element of air provides for us, this life force, this connection to ourselves, the world around us, and one another. Thanking the element of air for all of its lessons and its wisdom, for helping us to remember how to stay flexible and move with the changes. Thanking the traditional custodians of the land in which you stand for joining us, all of those benevolent guardians and guides, your own personal ancestry, all of the elements, and in particular yourself for showing up to stretch and move beyond your known into something new. Remembering that in order to make change and to step into the new, we must remember where we come from. And so the familiar is an absolute key to stepping into the unfamiliar, knowing where you come from, so that you can consciously choose to step into where it is you're going next. Taking a breath in, releasing that with a sound or a sigh. And on the count of 3, we'll clap our hands 3 times and slap them to the earth, and that'll seal our container for today. Breathing in, 1, 2, 3. Opening your eyes. Enjoy your week of air and exploring and allowing and welcoming. I will send out, it might take me a little bit longer today, but I will send it out, the packet and the playlist within the next 24 hours. And the poem, if I forget, Lori will remind me. If you have any concerns, please just email me. Blessings on your week of it. Today's the new moon, so it's actually like right now. So just keep setting those intentions and let's see what the new energy brings. Lots of
Thank
love.
you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. See you next week.
Bye.
Next week.
Bye.
Happy new moon. Blessings.
Bye.
Yes, you too.
See you next week.
See ya.
Say hi to Polly, Lori. Oh, Lori's gone.